à bénéficier du programme de
Today, we mark
l'initiative
a
présidentielle
historic
pour
turning point
l'autosuffisance
for Africa.
alimentaire. Nous avons bénéficié
Burkina Faso is leading the
d'un aménagement
continent's
de 4
first true
hectares.
green revolution built not
Donc,
on foreign aid, but
les
on the
travaux
strength,
sont finis, bon,
creativity,
presque
and
finis, je vais dire.
sacrifice of our own
Mais
people.
nous n'avons
We are
pas attendu
proving that
que
Africans
tout
can feed
réceptionne avant de
themselves,
commencer.
sustain their lands,
Nous avons pu
and
faire
design
quelques
solutions rooted in our soil and culture. This is
départements
more than
de
agriculture. It is sovereignty,
circulation.
it is
Donc,
dignity,
depuis le mois de
and
mai,
it is the
effectivement,
future
qu'on a
of Africa
commencé
written by
à
Africans
exploiter
for
la zone.
Africans.
They say the desert always wins, but in northern Burkina Faso, one farmer quietly defied the drought. He dug hundreds of pits in hardened earth, filled them with manure, and planted trees. Over decades, he built a 40-hectare green island in the dry Sahel. They called him the man who stopped the desert, and his method? Something called Zapits. His success wasn't financed by big foreign aid programs. It came from local knowledge, sweat, and stubborn hope. What if I told you this small nation in West Africa is now trying something much bigger? A green revolution born from within. No conditionalities, no strings attached, just homegrown soil, traditions, and a government that says, we can feed ourselves. In a moment, you'll see how Burkina Faso is reviving its land, rethinking agriculture, reclaiming its mining wealth, and asking a tough question: can Africa lead its own green revolution on its own terms? In the Sahel region, where rainfall is scarce, soil hard, and the desert creeps south, traditional methods once faded. Then came the reintroduction of zapits, shallow pits dug in degraded land, filled with organic matter. Termites help break up soil. Compost adds nutrients. The result? Crop yields improved up to 500%. Alongside ZA, Burkina Faso has promoted assisted natural regeneration, protecting tree stumps, letting them regrow when conditions allow. Both methods are low cost and heavily dependent on local labor, not foreign inputs. The country has committed to restoring 5 million hectares of degraded land by 2030 under the African Forest Landscape Restoration Initiative. This is no green promise. It's a plan deeply rooted in local ecology and culture, but there are challenges: water scarcity, climate change causing unpredictable rain, insecurity in some zones blocking access to, and still, more people are joining the effort. Seg to next section. If restoring land is one piece, the next piece is knowing when to plant and how to adapt to climate swings. Burkina Faso has a trick up its sleeve for that too. For many farmers, the rain just shows up or doesn't. Seeds planted too early or too late lead to lost harvests. To fix this, a national project called Hydromet introduced simple rain gauges, nearly 9,700 installed by 2023 with training. These tools allow farmers to measure rainfall and decide exactly when to sow. These devices are managed by community volunteers, farmers groups, and local meteorological offices, sharing data across regions. It isn't high-tech drones or satellites, it's grassroots and accessible. Meanwhile, small dams and irrigation infrastructure are being upgraded. Projects like agricultural valorization of small dams Provolab are using renewable energy, solar-powered pumps to water gardens and boost vegetable production. Gardens plus fish ponds plus solar water pumps equals resilience. This means less dependence on erratic rain, better yields, more reliable food all through the seasons. Seg to next section. But it's not enough just to grow more. What about getting the food to people, processing it, generating income? That requires changing economics, not just farming. Burkina Faso has begun to build capacity to process its own food. Example: a tomato paste processing plant, Pagnango, Yako, opened around 2024 at a cost of nearly $9 million. Local tomato farmers can now sell raw tomatoes into value chains in country rather than exporting low-value raw or importing paste. Also, programs to improve livestock productivity and diet, such as educating mothers to feed their children eggs within small villages with local poultry, have shown clear gains in nutrition. The idea: produce more, but also process more, so that the value and profits stay with communities instead of flowing out. But processing needs stable infrastructure, reliable power, trained labor, roads to move goods, and quality control. All of these can be weak in remote zones. Seg to next section, which brings us to leadership. Who's directing this? What policies support self-reliance? And how are they pushing against dependency? Under President Ibrahim Burkina Faso has made some bold moves. He has rejected some IMF and World Bank conditional aid, insisting that the country has its own resources and must avoid dependency. Gold is key here. Rather than exporting unrefined gold, Burkina Faso is building its first gold refinery, aiming to process more of its gold domestically. This could increase revenue and retain more wealth internally. The government also nationalized some foreign-owned gold mines, bringing them under state control via a public company SOPAMIB. There is also land reform, redistributing land, reforming land tenure to give local farmers more secure rights, to encourage investment in land. Restoration and productive farming. These moves carry risks. Less foreign investment might mean less cash flowing in. State control can suffer inefficiencies or corruption. Insecurity can undermine stability. But the appetite for change is strong. Seg to next section. So far we've seen land, weather tools, processing, policy. What about urban spaces, combating heat, improving daily life in cities? That's another front in this revolution. In Ouagadougou, the capital, they're reviving a green belt vegetable plots, trees, water tanks encircling the city. Originally started in the 1970s to slow desert encroachment, recently the effort has been renewed. It serves two purposes: cooling the city down and producing food locally. In extreme heat waves 42°C+ days, this green belt does more than look good. It helps reduce temperatures in its surroundings, offers shade, fresh produce, small incomes for participants. Also, local recycling efforts like Faso Recyclage, run mostly by women, are cleaning up waste, sorting, reusing materials. This reduces pollution, improves environment, gives income. It's not massive, but these are the kind of grassroots initiatives that build resilience. Urban agriculture helps reduce food transport costs, creates local jobs, and integrates greenery into city life, which is important as climate change intensifies. Seg to next section. All this needs money, organization, follow-through. What about financing, community leadership, corruption obstacles, and are there failures to learn from? First, climate risk remains. More unpredictable rains, more droughts, even zapits and natural regeneration need some rainfall. Security concerns. Some rural areas are under threat from armed groups, making projects risky or impossible. Infrastructure gaps, roads, storage, transportation, power for processing plants. Not everywhere has reliable access. Governance and transparency will be tested. With nationalization and state control, it is easier for inefficiencies or misuse of funds to creep in if oversight is weak. There is also criticism. Some analyses say programs tied to the idea of a green revolution depending on foreign inputs. Fertilizers, industrial seeds may create dependencies themselves. Burkina Faso's path seems more self-reliant, but the risk is always there, but the stakes are huge. Food security, climate resilience, economic independence. If Burkina Faso succeeds, it could show a model for other African nations. If it fails, the consequence is malnutrition, dependence, land degradation could worsen rapidly. Seg to conclusion. So where are they headed? What would success look like? What's the dream they're chasing? And is it possible? Burkina Faso's Green Revolution isn't a polished narrative of grand foreign aid success. It's messy. It's local. It's driven by farmers digging pits, women organizing recyclables, scientists aligning with policy, and a government saying loudly, "Let's keep our value here." If this revolution wins, it won't just be about more crops or higher yields. It will be about a people restoring their own land, feeding their own children, keeping more of their wealth. It will be about turning the soil into more than dirt. It becomes sovereignty. There are no guarantees. The sky may withhold its rain. Markets may falter. Politicians may fall short. But the momentum is there. The ideas are rooted, and the cost of doing nothing, of continuing to import, to depend, to let the desert creep is too high. Burkina Faso is building its own future, and in doing so, it is lighting a spark for Africa, for countries tired of waiting for help, for anyone who believes that the green revolution of tomorrow doesn't have to come from abroad, but can come from home.